Okay, thank you. To give, like, I cannot boast about things that I have my own sets of weaknesses, vices, everything. So just one thing is, people. There's one thing which I felt very affected me is that when you say that you're a shy student or something like that, you are put in one level, and automatically ego sets in. So that was one thing. To break it was very difficult. That's really, really, really very tough topic to discuss. So, but I will start with myself. Who am I, and what that place has given to me? I hope these things will be very new to you. That's one thing to make it. And finally, I'll come to the topic of why I feel that math is very special to me. I will obviously use quotes of famous mathematicians and also atheists who have said this. And it will be a very funny topic to discuss about. But let me start with this. So my name is Akshay Iyer. I studied in Vrindavan. I joined for my undergraduation BSc honors in 2004, and I completed my BA undergraduation in 2007 from Vrindavan campus. Then I went to Prasanthi Nilayam campus, and from 2007 to 2009, I did my masters in mathematics. Okay, that's those 5 years are my time with Swami. Luckily for me, Swami was there physically, which now many people are not able to get it. Okay, that those were, now I can call it good. We used to have in our hostel, we used to have a session called as good old days. So it was called as God. So by the time when I came to post graduation itself, Swami had as had reduced his interactions, but still we were able to get some good tri sessions. And obviously my classmates, my brothers, they were also able to go to the last Kodai trip ever in 2009. So that's the part of it. Now let me start with me. Who am I? I am a guy with some strange interests. I like trains. I love traveling by trains. I love war technology. You might say, Swami student ahimsa paramo dharma, but after that, dharma himsa tadevacha. That's also important. So why you like it? I don't know. Might be my past prarabdha karma. Who knows? But that's what I am. So that's that. I like going to museums and also the places where war took place, because I feel connected to those places. Now coming to that place, why I started with such a bizarre thing. Okay. We have a lot of our Indian armed forces, many of the colonel, the generals, they are all in the Indian armed forces as entirety is a very, very, what we call as Shraddha se rehne wala fauj hai. They are very, very devoted. They are devoted to their motherland, and then they do their job with devotion. That's beyond belief. And many of them happen to be Swami's devotee too. I might have found them on YouTube, especially one, I don't remember his name, but now I will talk about one Colonel Sandhu, now retired as a brigadier. So for us, he was Colonel Sandhu. He's a very staunch devotee of Bhagwan. So if you remember paramotors if you have visited Prasanthi Nilayam during the sports meet, which is today, that's also very good. That's why I chose this date. Just supposed to be today. Thanks to COVID, these things. Sorry that it's unfortunate that that's not happening. But I've seen people landing in parachute with their motor hanging on the back. So it was Colonel Sandhu who actually initiated this in the Indian Armed Forces, paramotors. They were part of the was part of the parachute regiment, and also he did an entire trip from Kashmir to Kanyakumari via Prasanthi Nilayam in paramotors, and he landed in the Prasanthi Nilayam this thing. And many of my own classmate Satyanarayanan, he was part of the paramotors team when it was happening in Prasanthi Nilayam in January 11, 2007. With that, Colonel Sandhu was, when we were in our second year of undergraduation, He was called to give a like every Thursday we have some moral class session, which sometimes we will have a what we call a good quiz competition or somebody giving speeches. So Colonel Sandhu was invited, and we were in for my heart was racing because we were in for some good snippets of how Swami is there with him. So, if you remember Indian peacekeeping force to Sri Lanka, this was in the IPKF times, LTT incursion, 1989. He was part of the armed forces. He was part of the platoon battalion, and he was stuck in a place near Jaffna. And what happened was his many of his company in his company, many of his fellow soldiers, and sadly, unfortunately, were sent to the attend their martyrdom. And what happened was during that time, he was pinned down by a heavy machine gun fire, and there was nothing. There was a machine gun fire was coming from one end, and they were not able to go anywhere. They were just stuck in that place. So they just saw a house at a distance where they could get a higher ground, and from there they can take over the shooting and neutralize the insurgents. What happened was he was thinking what to do, and he had his fellow platoon members with them. He said one thing which was very funny, and he said, "Sairam bolo or mere piche dodo." And he just took they with their assault rifles in their hand, they just ran towards the house. They just ran. That was the only house in the entire field. It was like a field and some coconut groves or something like that. And then they ran in. They somehow made it through all the crossfiring which was happening unscathed, and they entered the house. When they entered the house, they saw a beleaguered family, covering in one place. That family was terrified as what was happening. It was all covered in one place with a small candle lit up. And in that house, he saw, to his utter amazement, there was a photo of Swami. The candle was lit in front of Swami's photo, and they were just sitting around the photo in one corner. He with his gun in his hand. How first of all the soldiers, they burst into the house, and they went up to the top of the terrace of the roof. And when he saw this, he was stunned, first of all. But he said to those people, while going on the top, he said Sairam, and he went up. And they were also surprised. And when he went up, the crossfiring, the machine gun, everything was gone. Totally gone. And he was like surprised. And then somehow they extracted these beleaguered families and took them to a transition camp or a refugee camp, whatever I said. And then he said to us that might be this is the reason why this firing came, and we were supposed to do that job. As one of the incident which is like imprinted in my mind. Second instance was when he was in the Rashtriya Rifles in JAK, Jammu and Kashmir. And the jihadis over there. He was part of the counter-terrorism unit over there, and people were escaping left and right. And he was not able to perform, and he had they have something called as platoon ki izzat. If anything happens to the platoon, first of all, the guys get very charged up. They said we want the revenge or something. And the thing is that he lost 2 members of his platoon, of his company, and that was triggering the Josh. It was in the simmering point, all the soldiers, because platoon ki ijat is like the foremost. And what happened was, in his dream, Swami comes to him in full military. This was his quote. I quote him. Swami came to me in full military fatigue, armed with an assault rifle in his hand. And he said, "Sab bach rahe hain na? Main aata hu abhi, dekhta hai kaun bachta hai karke." This was the exact words Swami said to him in his dream. And in the next 1 month, 60 terrorists were dispatched to their heavenly abode, whatever they call it, for them, what they are fighting for, with all the things which they claim to have it. Right. Now, what is my personal experience? As I said, I'm a guy who likes war technology. I like aircrafts. I like fighters. I like normal modern aeroplanes as such. I wanted to do aerospace engineering. But, here I am because of his will or the plans or my prarabdha karma. I was there, over there, whatever is it, whatever you want to call it. In my dream, when I was in my third year of my bachelor's, Swami comes as he was there already in his wheelchair, but was quite active during those time also, 2007 also he was quite active. Asked him to Swami aerospace engineering. And what did he say? Say to me, it is tough, but you do. Okay, left it. 2009, completed my master's in pure mathematics. Then by his grace, again, it's all his grace. It's grace, his grace. I get an opportunity to go to Netherlands and do a second master's in applied mathematics. I go to Netherlands. I do my applied mathematics, and as a master thesis in my final year, I do my master thesis in mathematical modeling of intake ducts of jet engines. Very nice. So Swami is there, but that was not it. Then I get to do a PhD in mechanical engineering in combustion. And I'm really thankful to him that I'm one of the few guys who is able to get a job in the same kind of thing, computational fluid dynamics. It's all his grace. वो बनाता है track. But again, it's like you come to know, we all connect the dots afterward. So that's how we are. So just leave it. Just accept and try to be in the present. That's what I'm still trying to learn. The second thing is with my sister. I have a very good fortune that my sister also did her 11th and 12th from Bharti. It's very nice thing. So that for the girls is either on the first standard. In 11th and 12th, it's very less amount of seats which are available, or you directly go to the BSc in Anantapur campus. So she wrote the 11th and 12th. Before that, when I was in my final year, again, this was in the birthday time, so 81st birthday, inauguration of Indoor Stadium. So 2008. So he comes to my dream in just climbing the Hanuman top hill. He suddenly says to me, your sister is coming. I don't know. Just left it. She writes the exam. She doesn't clear it. And then I'm sitting and working. She had gone outside. I get a call from, she has been rejected. This is to somewhere in June 2009. I get a call saying that, please come and join. Again, personal experiences. So I feel that I have covered that also. Now, mathematics. Why is mathematics so amazing? And why does, Swami, if you want, you can, it's all up to you. One thing, the best part of our Sanatana Dharma, or the dharmic paddhati of the East, is that it's very democratic in nature. If you want to seek the truth in a stone, you seek the truth in a stone. I'm not saying belief, you seek. And when you start realizing, you think about the stone, how it is formless, all those things, you realize it, you seek, not believe. All our great sages were not believers, they were seekers. The thing is that we need our experience to talk. As in the Gita, it says, all experience adds to knowledge. One thing is for sure, all the prani, all the creatures in the world will attain moksha one day or the other. It might be different ways. It's that how do you want to shorten it? That's all is up to us. All will attain everything. Moksha might be in the form of the entire destruction of the entire planet Earth, like what happened to the dinosaurs. Gone in a blink of an eye. That's also true. Now, what happens is that we have very good slokas from mathematics. India has a good fortune that we have had good mathematicians since the yore. Great example is Chamakam. What is the 11th Anuvaka of Chamakam is like, Ekachame, Tisrachame, Panchachame, Saptachame, Navachame, Ekatachame, Trayodachame, Panchatachame. Then you have odd numbers, then you have multiples of 4. There's a significance to it. I'm not able to remember it, but we have always given strength to mathematics. There is a good sloka from Vedanta's Vedanta, some book I forget. It's written around 2,500 to 3,000 years ago. It says, Yatha Shika Mayuranam Naganam Manayoyata Tatvat Vedanga Shastranam Ganitam Murdhanistitam. It says like how the tuft in the hair of the crown in the top head of peacock, and how the jewel in the head of Sheshanaga. Among the Vedanga Shastras, there are 26 of them, if I am not mistaken. Among the Vedanga Shastras, mathematics has the foremost position. This is from our texts. Then you come to the most, like we all have different kinds of avatara. You call Krishna Swami as Purna Avatara. Rama is not a Purna Avatara because he doesn't have that all the 64 characteristics. So the avataras of Vishnu prior to Vamana, they were Amsha avatars. They come and they go. And then Tirupati Balaji and all, they are a different kind of avatar. There are different types of avatar. But if there is one avatar which came down to just show how to do mathematics, this is again my experience. I feel that it is Srinivasa Ramanujan. The great man was able to kill his hunger by mathematics. Just hunger. In his childhood, he was hungry. But he couldn't control the hunger. So he went to the Sarangapani temple nearby his street and started doing mathematics on the floor. And he slept. And then his mother called him. He said, "What are you doing?" "I was sleeping. I was feeling hungry, so I just had to kill it." That was the dedication of this. He has a very interesting saying. An equation is useless to me unless it expresses the thought of God. Then you have on the other spectrum Paul Dirac, a very famous physicist who was also a good mathematician, by the way, contributed very handsomely to the field of quantum mechanics. What does he say? He's an atheist, by the way. He was an atheist. What does he say? If there is a God, he must be a mathematician. And we used to have a big joke running in our group. He says, a biologist says that he's a chemist. A chemist says that he's a physicist. A physicist says that he's God. But God says, I'm a mathematician. Why? Why is that so? It's a comical thing, but it is also very deep, actually. If you take all the sciences, chemistry, biology, physics, so on and so forth, zoology, whatever might be the mathematics field you are choosing, mathematics is the only subject which is independent of it and is used as a grammar to explain all these phenomena. What do you say? How do I put it? I say this is one finger. Okay, this is 5 fingers. But I just remove fingers. What's 5? What's 1? What's 0? It's abstract. It's really abstract. If you go to the Real number line, those people who have, if you remember, this was taught to you in your school: rational numbers, irrational numbers. Pi is an irrational number, root 2 is an irrational number. The set of all the rational numbers and the irrational numbers are together called as the real number. What is the beauty of this real number is, you cannot count between two numbers. That's why, like if I say, now if you take natural numbers is very system, it's like very, it's called countable, countable set. You have zero, the next is 1, 2, 3, there's nothing in between. Real number doesn't have that beauty. And if you want to prove that the entire real line, that is minus infinity at one end to plus infinity at the other, is uncountable, how will you prove it? You did not have to prove for the entire real line. If you prove between 0 and 1, the closed interval, we call it 0 and 1 is uncountable. So if you, it's very simple. If you give me two numbers, however close they might be, I can give you a number in between them. However close you go, you cannot count it. You cannot exhaust it. To prove that the entire minus infinity to plus infinity is uncountable, we just have to prove that 0 is a bit, then all the numbers, you cannot count the numbers between 0 and 1. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. Smaller than the smallest, larger than the largest. And one of the most beautiful things which we have in our slokas, Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. What does it mean? If you say, if you take the Purna out of the Purna, it still remains a Purna. If you do Purna negate, if you add Purna to the Purna, it still remains Purna. It means it's infinity plus infinity is equal to infinity. Infinity minus infinity is also equal to infinity. That's truth. Go, and then in maths there is a concept of topology, where if there are two human beings, I can find a mapping which will map each and every cell of each and every part of my this human man from a person A to person B. It's called bijective mapping, though complicated terminologies, but it views everything as sets. There is no concept of distance. There's no concept. Everything is abstract. Everything is in your brain. Infinite sets, infinite operators. Wow. Okay, we are doing infinity. We are touching infinity. We are able to feel it. We are able to write it down. We are able to use it in our day-to-day life. Actually, all your computers, all your image processing, everything uses all the functions. They are all infinite dimensional functions. All those things are there. We are taking it for granted, but infinity is among us. And then the best part is, we all know this is a three-dimensional place plus this time space continuum. Mathematics is not restricted to time, 4 dimensions, 5 n dimensions, infinite dimensions. We have done the maths, it holds true there also. And it is not like one in maths, it's not like one theory replaces the other theory. Dalton's atomic theory is replaced by Rutherford. Rutherford is replaced by Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr is replaced by quantum, some other theory, cloud model, those things. No, it's built step by step. If you go deep, it will be just feeling that, oh my God, this is what it is. Then the best example of Ramanujan is Ramanujan summation. You can Google it. It's a wonderful thing. This is the sum of all natural numbers. If one of the solution, okay, it's not the solution, it's one of the solution. Sum of all natural numbers, summation 1 is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 dot 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 till infinity is equal to minus 1 by 12. He wrote this letter to Hardy, G.H. Hardy, and he said, please do not take me for a lunatic. In his letter, I come up with this. And then Hardy accepts that thing. And the best part is, now it's used in string theory, that exact summation, and it fits in the 0-point energy, all the spectrum. You can go, now there is a channel called, in YouTube, there is a channel called Number 5. It does a wonderful job about it. I think have given, I feel I have been quite entertaining, and I hope that I gave a different aspect of what's what I feel. I didn't want it to be like my only my personal experiences. I wanted to share, it was bubbling so that I can share it with people. I don't know how. First of all, on YouTube when it goes, I don't know how people will receive it. Also, it's going to be very funny for me. Is this the first time I heard that it's also going to get in YouTube? So after all these things, placing my humble pranams at the lotus feet. I should have told this in the first. Again, my humble salutations at the lotus feet. I like to thank every one of you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts. I hope you all have a good evening and a good healthy life and a healthy 2022. Thank you, Jai Sai.